Hello, I am live. I'm reading out of Eyes of Horus. It is a farm memory book by Joan Marshall Grants. She was a seer and she used to write books about her farm memories. This is a memory of hers 3,500 years BC, and she is a male, Ra-up, and she is an heir to the nomarch of the Oryx. A war has started, a battle has started against the old regime and their evil priests, and we are now in part 6, I think it's chapter 3, Warrior Freeze. Information was flowing through our prearranged channels even more smoothly than I had expected, and by late that afternoon enough news had been received for us to be virtually certain that there was no army between us and the immediate vicinity of the royal city. Reports brought in by the scouts I had sent out earlier in the day had been sufficient to confirm my opinion that the army of the Reed was hidden in the priest's quarters of the temple of Sekhmet. There were traces that a large number of people had recently passed along the paths leading to the north gate of the temple enclosure, and the very fact that an attempt had been made to obliterate these traces made their presence doubly significant. The discipline of the hidden soldiers must have been excellent, for the scout, in spite of having managed to keep close to the wall for nearly 2 hours, had heard nothing but a low murmur, to which, had his suspicions not already been aroused, he would have paid no attention. 6 of the women who Kias had sent out had each brought back stories, which were curiously similar. Though they made no secret that they were following the army of the Oryx, and we knew that the owners of all the farms they had visited regarded the South as rebels, they had everywhere been made welcome and given the food for which they asked. When they began to retail their grievances, they found a sympathetic audience, which, after exclaiming against the injustice of making women behave like soldiers, urged them to refuse to go any further until they had several days' rest. Always the several days were stressed. It's quite obvious, said Kias, that those people had all been warned what to say. The enemy must have known we have women with us, and therefore thought it probable we would send them out to forage for us. Why do they want us to delay here? Perhaps Menhad's strategy needed time to ripen, suggested Hanuk. Then why don't they make a surprise attack on us here? I said. Dawn this morning would have been the best time for that, and would have found us comparatively unprepared. As they didn't attack, said Kias, I think it proves they want to fall on us from the rear when we have gone further north. Here Sebek joined the conversation. By now Menhad knows of the Watchers, and he must be beginning to realize how widespread is our power. He may even know that Horus has 100 eyes born of each man's vision, and that with them there are more than 10,000 Watchers. He knows that if one of us, especially one of the 100 of Horus, remains alive, this same fire we are now kindling may flare up again. We are not only an army he must defeat, we are individuals whom he must kill, or else wait for us to compass his postponed destruction. Sebek is right, said Hanuk, but I think Menhad, with his superior strength of arms, must feel confident of his power to destroy us in battle. His renown as a soldier has been justly earned. Remember how he defended the Puntates when they outnumbered him 10-1, and how he put down the rebellion in Nubia with only 300 men, when they must have mustered nearly 5,000 untrained groups against him. But if he only defeats us as an army, he must know there will only be a lull before we rise again. That's what the hidden army is for, to see that none of us get back to the south. He will decree that we are rebels. We have renounced the honours of war, and then neither our wounded nor our women can hope for quarter. He will reaffirm his father's decree that anyone who raises a hand against the royal house is condemned to death by torture, and that anyone who may shelter or succour us, even if it is only to give water to a dying man, shall receive the same punishment. By that means Menhad will find an excuse to destroy not only ourselves but any other watcher, anyone who has rendered us assistance in however trivial a degree, will come under the edict and be put to death. He turned to Caius and asked her, "What do you think? Am I being unjust?" She paused a moment before replying and then said slowly, "Menhad has never broken the warrior's code, and his soldiers would never dare to kill a wounded enemy or to treat captive women and children except with honor. But while you were speaking, I remembered the tone of his voice when he said to me, 'You forget I shall be Pharaoh. Pharaoh can do no wrong.' He thinks he is Pharaoh and therefore has the right to destroy without pity anything which imperils the security of his rule. He will think of himself not only as Pharaoh but as Egypt herself. All who oppose him will cease to be Egyptians. They will be the foreign invaders, and his family have never been merciful to foreigners. If it is true that he killed his brother, the fear of the blood guilt may have made him cruel." "Why should it?" I objected. "He will have killed the royal heir myself. I would have killed the royal heir myself and felt no compunction." "You would," she said. "You knew that he was only a man depraved and insane. Menhad has hated him since they were children, but he still believes his brother was half divine. He couldn't help doing so, for if he denied it, he would have to deny the power of the royal blood, and so cease to believe in his own omnipotence. That's why he would have been so dangerous as a ruler. He believes with the most profound sincerity that his power over his people should be absolute, not because he is divinely inspired, but because he is himself divine." "Then you agree with me," said Sebek. "He will try to destroy us, however dishonorable the means." "That is true of everything I know of his character. A brilliant piece of strategy which he will carry out ruthlessly because he believes it is serving a rightful purpose." "Shall we wait here and besiege the reed, or send an envoy to challenge them to give battle?" asked Hanuk. "Besieging them is no use," said Sebek. "As soon as Menhad found what we were doing, he would come down in a flank attack, sending a strong force either by river or by the desert road to bar our line of retreat." I then put forward my opinion. "This is more than a conflict between armies. Of course, if all fails, we shall have to kill as many of them as are needed to force them to surrender. But I have a plan which may give us victory with little bloodshed, and may even turn the old capital and its soldiers into our friends. If we can prove to them that Sekhmet can give them no protection, then they may become loyal children of Ra, and so be of our company." "Are you suggesting that our priests should go and talk to them?" said Sebek a little scornfully. "They would gain no entry to the temple.